Hi, you're listening to YYC Sociables, Calgary Social Experiences podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Sociables, and my job is to make sure you have something fun to look forward to every week. In between these weekly podcasts, get your fix by following me on Instagram at sarah.sociables. In this week's episode, I'm talking about all the fun stuff happening in Calgary from Monday, January 25th to the end of the week, which is Sunday, January 31st. So before I get into the episode, I just want to take a second to thank the sponsor, which is Solutions Brewing. And so I was telling you guys about Solutions Brewing last week. They're this brand new brewery out of Airdrie. There's three friends who created it, Rob, Brendan, and Steven. And yeah, they're just doing exciting on the craft beer scene. So you should make sure that you try their beer. You're going to really enjoy it. The one that I wanted to tell you guys about this week is their blonde ale, because they have three different beers: a blonde, an amber, and a stout. The blonde ale, I've had it before. It's pretty tasty. It's called Missing Piece. I don't know if that's like a blonde joke. If so, I like it. And the description here says nothing is more satisfying than that aha moment, that magical place and time when you find what you need. The subtle, smooth caramel is the aha moment of the missing piece. This refreshing beer goes down smooth and is best enjoyed with friends and loved ones. I'd say that's a pretty accurate description of their blonde ale. I liked it because it had some flavor to it as well. Like some blondes can be very almost like watered down or not have enough flavor, especially when you drink a lot of craft beers, you're missing that flavor, and I felt like this blonde was good for that. Like I really enjoyed the taste with it and would have had several more if I had more in my fridge. All right, so moving on to the main segment. If you're new here, this is where I go over the list of events that I post on Instagram every Sunday, and this is a curated list of local events handpicked by me because I think they're the best things to do in the city. Now, unfortunately, we're still in lockdown territory, so this list of events is pretty crappy, but I shouldn't say it's crappy. The list itself isn't crappy. It's just a small, short list, which is kind of depressing. But yeah, these are the times we live in, folks. Okay, so the first event I wanted to tell you about is actually by my friend Craig McFarlane. He is running a 90s Zoom trivia night on Tuesday, which looks really fun. It starts at 7 p.m. If you're into 90s trivia, which I think sounds like a really fun thing to do, go to Craig's Instagram and just DM him to get the link. That's like the easiest way to do it. You'll find his Instagram. It's called Passing Time with Craig. So it's like at PTW Craig. And that's how you'll find the Zoom trivia night. So bring your friends along. I'm sure it'll be a good time. I should try and make it to that actually. The second thing that I wanted to tell you about is I found out about these cooking classes that are going on. They're by Atco Kitchen. I know that Atco Kitchen had been doing cooking classes in the past, but I didn't really know that they had fully moved online or actually doing a really good job of it. So they are doing one on Thursday that is a I don't know if it's keema aloo curry. So like a curry cooking class. It's Thursday at 5:30 p.m. If you just want to watch the event alone, it's $25 to get the instruction to walk you through it, and you can buy all the ingredients yourself. There's a full list online so you know what shopping to do. Or, which I think this is actually the really more appealing option, they will send you a full ingredient kit, and the price of that is $45. So that's the kit and the tutorial. I thought that was a neat thing happening. They're also doing an event on Saturday that's for quick breads. I think that's like a banana bread or like a cheese loaf or something. Those really simple, easy to put together. They're like no fail bread. It's not like the sourdough where you have to learn stuff and you're going to screw it up. So they have a quick breads class on Saturday as well. And they've got more events coming up in February. This is just their end of January cooking classes. On Thursday, it's Belle Let's Talk Day. So that's January 28th. Is that Thursday? Let me just check my calendar. I'm pretty sure that it's Thursday. Yeah. So Thursday is Belle Let's Talk Day. And I thought that was just a good thing to mention because I know people's mental health generally tends to suffer at this time of year because it's dark, it's cold, it's after Christmas, it's kind of just a miserable time when we're all back in our jobs and not a lot to look forward to. But it's like extra sad right now because of COVID and these never ending restrictions. So just keep that day in mind in terms of not only your own mental health, but looking out for your friends' mental health too, and keeping an eye on them and checking in on them and making sure they're okay. It's always good to reach out to someone and send them that text message and just maybe just be miserable together and complain about the situation. I find even is helpful, right? And the last thing I wanted to mention is that this is the end of January, so the 31st is Sunday, so that will wrap up the first month of 2021, which is hard to believe because it's been such a weird month being in quarantine this whole entire time. So yeah, that is kind of my end of things to do, which isn't a lot because kind of two of them weren't even really things to do. I'm really running out of stuff here, guys. It's not good. And the next section I have is restaurant news, and this was such a quiet week in terms of restaurant news. I don't know why. Maybe it was because the last couple weeks had kind of more going on with all those ghost kitchens opening, but this week was really quiet and I didn't hear anything, so I don't have any restaurant news and I don't have any brewery news. Everything's been really quiet. I think like businesses are kind of in like hibernation mode right now because it's like wait and watch, see what's going to happen. In terms of what I did last week, I think this might have been 2 weeks ago, but I didn't mention it on the podcast. But I actually watched the Eat North Variety Pack on YouTube, which I liked. I really enjoyed it. Eat North is kind of this, I don't really know what to call it, like group of foodies, magazine, like food critics, and they just kind of talk about food news in Canada. It's really interesting actually. So they are hosting a YouTube channel that does shows every Thursday, and it's got Dan Clapson on it. He's a Globe and Mail restaurant critic, and Marilyn Smith, you might recognize her from Cityline and Breakfast Television in Toronto, and they also bring on other Canadian celebrities, you could call them. I think it's just like a cool thing they're doing. I know that I learned things when I was listening to them, like foodie related stuff, because that's mostly what they talk about. And they had a musician on, that's part of their regular template. And they had Andrew Fung was on, the actor, which was kind of just a cool, fun guest. And they're just really short episodes. It was only half an hour. So that's like a fun thing you can do. And they have the chat in the YouTube, so you can chat with other people or you can chat with them, make comments kind of back and forth. So it's a little bit interactive that way. You're not just watching. The other thing that I did last week, or that I've been getting into, and this is kind of a tangent, but I don't know if you guys have heard about the Clubhouse app. This app is kind of like the newest, coolest thing. Like lots of celebrities are jumping on it. And how I describe it in like kind of my own words, it's like a LinkedIn app, but it's audio. So it's the purpose of it is for like networking and marketing because it's really kind of hardcore that way, kind of intense actually. But it's all audio. So it's like you're listening to podcasts. So there's these rooms that you go into and people have like a panel discussion, I'm going to call it. So as a listener, you just are listening to these panel discussions and whatever they're talking about in terms of the topic, and some like rooms stay very on topic, whereas others are just all over the place and kind of a disaster. But you can learn a lot. Like it's really educational, and depending on what you're into, like I listen to a lot of kind of like marketing influencer related stuff that I find really interesting, but there are other things you could follow, like there's celebrities in some of these rooms and you can hear them talking like real time, which is kind of cool, and you have the opportunity to talk to them. Now they might not let you talk to them because you have to kind of be pulled onto the stage, which means like you would join the panel and then you would actually be able to like ask a question and interact with these celebrities or experts or just random people who decided to start a room. So it's kind of a neat app. The downside to it, there's two major flaws with it. One is that it's only for iPhone users, so that really excludes a lot of people. And the second thing is that you have to be invited to use it. So it's kind of pretentious that way. And I don't know. I don't like that about the app. Like, why wouldn't they just make it so that everyone could use it? Because right now I only have like 1 or 2 friends that are on it. So it's not really, it's more for networking with strangers than it is something you would use with your friends. I don't know if that description of the Clubhouse app made sense or not. You kind of have to get into it and play with it. But if anyone is curious and you're into like marketing, reach out to me and I'll give you an invite to the app if that's your thing. But yeah, that was something I was really diving into a lot of those discussions this week. Like I think I was in one for almost like 4 or 5 hours listening in on this discussion because I was just really absorbed in the material and I thought it was really giving me a lot of value. So I'm kind of addicted to that app right now. Okay, so that is all I had in terms of what I did last week. I basically would be wrapping up the episode right now because it's such a short, because nothing's happening this week. But I did add on a kind of bonus section of the top ramen places in Calgary. So if you're interested in talking about ramen, keep listening. I did some research and found the top 4 places, and this is according to Google reviews, but I'm gonna count backwards from number 4. Shockingly, Shiki Menya comes in at number 4. I know, that's the number 1 ramen place that everyone thinks of as soon as they think like, where are you going to get ramen in Calgary, because it is such a hyped up place. So they had 4.5 out of 5 as their rating on Google reviews, but they had 1,035 reviews. So like that's a ridiculous amount of reviews from people, which just shows how popular they are. So they're famous for their chili goma, and if you haven't had it, it is amazing. It's like freaking so good. And apparently they also have tacos that were really good. Like I was scrolling through the reviews and reading people's recommendation, and that was really interesting to me because I've never tried their tacos, but next time I go there, I'm gonna have to make sure that I do. And also like a little bit of backstory on Shiki Menya in case you live under a rock and haven't heard of them. They're famous because they're in this location in Bridgeland where they would only make about, I think, 200 bowls a day of their ramen broth. So you would have to go there and put your name on a list and kind of just hope that you would get in before they ran out of their delicious broth. And so it made it like kind of like a supply and demand thing. Like people were like, oh, well, I get some. Like I need to go super early. I got to be in that lineup. So there would be people lined up down the street and people would be driving by being like, what's that place? And it kind of like, I would say like overhyped it probably, but it is super delicious. And once you would get in it, it had like these very like urban vibes with like loud music. So it was kind of like a little bit of a bar scene that they were trying to create, even though it was the middle of the day. Oh, that's the other thing. So they're only open till 2 p.m. So there was no supper hour. You could only eat for lunch. I don't know if that's changed because I know with the pandemic there's like weirdness and I think they slightly moved their location or something. But yeah, traditionally it was only open from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. daily. So it just made it that much more scarcity factor around like, are you going to get those bowls? So yeah, that's Shiki Menya. That's number 4 on the list. I haven't tried these other 3, but now that I did this research, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really need to try the ramen at these places. Coming number 3 is called Tekosuya. Tekosuya, I think I'm saying that right. And that had a 4.7 out of 5 on Google reviews. This one was kind of interesting when I was doing the research. Apparently, it's quite hidden in terms of its location. Like it's a weird area just off Forest Lawn. It's kind of hidden in a little strip mall type thing, so you wouldn't know that it's there, but I think that's what makes it a hidden gem, right? But the decor inside is also pretty minimalist. There's just kind of white walls, so very not really, you don't go for the atmosphere is what I got out of this place, but you would definitely go for the amazing food or just get takeout, right? Like maybe that's the way to go about it for this one. They're known for their black garlic ramen. Apparently that's the bowl to order from this place. And unlike the other places on this list, they're open on Mondays, whereas I noticed other ramen places tended to close. Coming in at number 2 on the list is Fuji Ramen and Sushi. So this place had a 4.8 out of 5 on Google reviews. So it's in another strip mall area, and this place actually had some really nice decor. There was a lot of comments about how like the bathrooms were beautiful and the place was spotless. So I think this place is somewhere that you would actually want to, spend some time at while you enjoy your meal. They have 10 kinds of ramen, and apparently their bento boxes are also really good because I saw that that was mentioned in a lot of reviews, that the pricing is around like $12 to $20 for a bowl there. So that looks really good. So that was number 2. The number 1 place, and this was like so interesting to me because I'd never heard of it. It's another hidden gem, and it's called Shimizu Kitchen. On Google, they're also a 4.8 out of 5, but they have 324 reviews, so quite a bit more than the Fuji place. And as you know, people only review if they have an extreme opinion usually, so like that many people were excited enough to take the time to write a review, so that's amazing. And people literally described in the review section that it is a hidden gem. They said it's a small restaurant with a small menu, which I actually like to see that when I'm eating out. I find the bigger the menu, the worse the food because it's almost like the restaurant just decided to do everything, and so they didn't do like one thing well. So when I see a small menu, I'm like, okay, I know that they do these few items really well. And with Shimizu Kitchen, those items are ramen. Unfortunately, they don't have like a very active Instagram account because I was trying to see pictures of their food because I was so curious about this number 1 place, but they don't have a lot of images there. Yeah, so it's located in a strip mall at 37th Street and like the west end of 17th Ave Southwest. And I don't know that much more about it because I haven't been there, but I feel like I have to go there and find out now because this place sounds amazing. So those are the top 4 ramen places in Calgary. We've got number 1, Shimizu Kitchen. Number 2, Fuji Ramen and Sushi. Number 3, Tekotsuya. And number 4, Shiki Menya. Let me know if you try out any of those places. I know that I'm going to go out of my way to try these now that I've done this research because the description sounded so amazing about these noodles and broths and just like, so now I'm definitely in the mood for ramen. Hopefully this list was helpful for you. That is the end of my episode for the week. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about in this episode or suggestions, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. I really appreciate that you are interested in the same things that I'm excited about. That really means the world to me. And just before I close out, I want to say thanks to the individual who gave me a review this week. I did see that. It was my friend Kyle. So now I am up to 32 reviews on Apple Podcasts. My goal is to make it to 100 reviews. Right now I'm at 32. So tell your friends and family to leave me a review so I could hopefully pump that number up a little bit. And also, if you're interested in advertising on this podcast, visit yycsociables.com/advertise for more info on that. Alrighty, that's it. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week.